Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons, episode number 319. It's going to be definitely an interesting one, but to make it even more interesting, we've got a special guest to start off with. We have Ruth Beck from Ruth Beck Art joining us. Trevor, you lined all this up. You're so excited, aren't you?
Listen, I love talking to Ruth, right? She's an amazing artist. She has a unique style that I absolutely love. And I saw yesterday that the other day I saw that Ruth was having to leave Etsy and going to set up a new business venture. So I thought, we don't advertise, we don't take paid advertisements, we just help Arsenal fans and good contributors out. So we asked Ruth if she wanted to come on, and she said that she did. So Ruth, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you, Trev. Hello, Fergus. Hello, Alex. Hello, Dan. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's lovely to be here. I love this podcast. So yes, it's nice.
You're far more polite than me. You're far more polite than me. You said hello to those other two before I even did.
Well, how can I not say
we're used to it?
A legend.
Yeah, you're used to it. You're used to it. Boys, you okay? Dan, baby Guinness is still repeating on you?
Mate, I don't feel well. I don't like Mondays when they go like this. I've had 2 days of mini Guinnesses back to back, and no.
Oh yeah, you were hanging when you got into the pub first of all as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I brightened up very quickly, and I think the only person worse than me yesterday was you, mate. But yeah.
Oh, Alex, you know when you came up to my door and you try to get the pin to get in the yeah, I was worse than that.
Oh, Alex, can I tell you how it was, right? The most annoying person when he's drunk, right? Because you know how Fergus likes to tell me what songs to sing. Before I'd even finished the first word of the first song, he's telling me the next one. Ferg, leave me alone. I couldn't even get a word out. He's airing me ear.
I knew how drunk Ferg was when I saw him on the shoulders of Sam.
Well, we got a new king of Block 5, haven't we? And there's going to be a song about the king of Block 5 as well. Sam didn't have to do legwork today, did he? Ruth, you'll definitely have to jump on Sam's shoulders next time you come down there.
Oh, he'd throw me in the air and that's it. Easy peasy. I'm very impressed with Sam. That's very, very good. And you seem to not spill a drop of that pint that they handed you.
Never do. Never spill beer.
Professional.
That's professional. Yeah, I've done a steak bake Sam. So Ruth, talk to us about what your new venture, because we love your stuff. Let's have a look. We got some bits here. Like this is off Trevor's wall behind him. He's got his Block 7. I got my Block 5 behind me, and you've got the one where he's trying to push Coat Guy out of the way so he can be on telly, but Gabrielle made sure that Trevor's face was blocked. And of course, you've got this one here, which is the one you've done of Guns and Yellow Ribbons, me and Trevor, a 2-pint Trev.
Yes.
See, we've peaked too soon there because you've already shown off the best bit of work that Ruth's ever done for, how can she stop painting us two, how can you top that? It doesn't get top. But Ruth, listen, I'm interested to know, taking it back to the start, you only tell us what you need to tell us. We're here to support you. What happened at Etsy then, Ruth?
So I was at Etsy for 5 years. When I joined Etsy, I had about 4 paintings, and they were all Islington. And I had a couple of people from Facebook on Islington wanting to buy them. And my son said, start an Etsy page. And it was only a hobby. So I did. And at the time, my own bank was, I had a Building Society account. So I opened the Etsy in my husband's name in his bank account so I could trade. And 5 years down the line, I had an Etsy shop that had 400 items on it with nearly 1,200 reviews, 5-star reviews, 8,000 sales. It was amazing. But the bank was still paying into my husband's name. So the shop was owned by my husband. So the tax thing came in for Etsy, and I had to get a UTR, which is a reference now that if you're a sole trader, you have to declare every penny, regardless what you earn, even if it's like 50 quid a year, you have to declare it. And so I went to HMRC and said, I need a UTR. And when I went back to Etsy, the shop has to be in my name, which it isn't. It's in my husband's name. And he would have to then declare all the taxes on his earnings and everything. My shop doesn't earn a lot. Some weeks I earn £25. You know, we're not talking big money here, but I needed it in my name. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't give it to me. They said I had to close it and start again. So I had 8 days to comply, and I don't take to comply very well. So I don't want to be thrown off a cliff. I'd rather jump. So that's what I did. I decided to take control, close the Etsy shop myself, take my screenshots of my, you know, listings and all my information, and I'm going with Shopify. So my wonderful son is downstairs now building me a website on Shopify, and we're going to use the Ruth Beckart website as relaunch it,
redirect,
and it'll be a sales website that I own rather than using Etsy as a third party. And they were charging so much in fees when I looked back, because, you know, to me it's still just a hobby that pays me to do it. You know, it's not like a livelihood as such. I mean, it's very handy if I can sell a few things, especially over Christmas, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's my passion. It's the way that I get my art out there, and I raise money for charity through it. The North London Forever stuff is for the Ben Kinsella Trust. You know, it's a really good source. But when I really looked into it, which I should have done a few years ago, but I didn't, I was being fleeced. So yeah, that was it. So my new venture is in the making. It will be that address, ruthbeckart.com, and
I'll change that.
And yeah, that will be me for the future. But it's going to take me at least a couple of weeks, because HMRC, bless them, need to give me that code, and then I'm away with it. I'll be flying again. So hopefully, I mean, the outpouring of support and amazing messages I've had from like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that has been wonderful. So a huge thank you to everybody that has sent me wonderful messages and of support and bought the last few things on Etsy. I sent my last thing off Etsy this morning, so it's all gone, but it's a new chapter, I'd say it. You know, it was a lot of hard work, 5 years down the drain, but that silly little, just not being able to put from Darren Beck to Ruth Beck, it's just, it was such a shame.
Do you know what, Ruth? When I told my missus about it years ago now, my missus she's a crafter. She used to make these wooden signs and sell a few on Etsy. And she said to me, do you know how much Etsy take off you for selling stuff? It's like unbelievable amounts. Yeah. So it's what Shopify. I've never heard of Shopify. I don't mean to be rude. Is it a new platform for selling, Ruth, or has it been about a while?
It's like a website builder that enables you to. It's like Wix, I suppose, or so you get your domain like from GoDaddy. Mine is, and then you have a website builder, and Shopify is a website builder that has the selling e-commerce built into it. So I can still have my website as I have it, but I've also got this facility to sell and have like pages like Etsy with categories.
Just do it directly from your website rather than via
and those payments. I pay a fee towards Shopify, but it's nothing like I was paying towards Etsy.
Ruth, I've got a massive question. Sorry, butting again, Phil. I've got a massive question now, right? What are you working on at the moment? Are you working on anything that could come near the picture of Fergus and myself at Guns and Yellow?
I don't think I'll ever beat that. What's behind me at the moment is my North London Forever watercolor. See, I love that portrait. Your daughter was the brains behind that, Trevor.
She
messaged me and said, will you do them in a portrait with the Guns and Ribbons logo? And I said, give it a go.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you like it.
I love it. Well, I've always loved it. It's up on there, Pride of Place.
Do you love it more than you and Gabby, though? I think you, Gabby, and Coat Guy was the pinnacle of my art, really. I don't think I'll ever get better than that.
When Fergus is listening...
Let's look in the white of his eyes when he says that.
When Fergus is listening, I love the one of me and Fergus, but when he's not listening, I would... That one you did of Gabby and Coke Man and myself just blew me away. I thought, why have you done that? It's just,
it's just such a great
really knocked off my feet.
And I obviously left out the other members of the crowd. Sorry, guys, if you're in that photo. But yeah, I just wanted you and Coke Guy in it. I just thought it just epitomised that goal, really. You were just so happy.
I was over the moon. Oh, we were ecstatic with Tottenham away, wasn't it? You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, Ruth, another thing that I've loved you doing, and I'm always happy because mine was the first block you ever did, right? Block 7. Have you done nearly all the pictures of the block entrances now?
I've done virtually all of the lower and the upper. I think I've got about 7 left to do, but I've only done 2 of the club level, so it's still an ongoing work in progress, I'd say.
We can't afford to go up there, Ruth. We can't afford to go up there.
I've done 2 of the club level, 47 and another one, but
the club level aren't as they don't evoke as much, do they? Because it's just like walking in.
And they all look exactly the same. I know you could say some of the lower levels look the same, but there are differences, obviously. But yeah, all club level is just a glass door with a little number. So
yeah. I've got a new project for you that might give you some inspiration. It's this one here.
That is a picture and a half. Do I really have to go and draw your covered gonads? I don't know. That'll be a first for me, I tell you.
Just going back to those, getting rid of that swear word from Fergus. Just going back to those block entrances. I know we have a few season ticket holders watch, Ruth, and when you've got a certain block, you know, like Fergus block 5, Dan it's block 101, me it's block 7, right? If you've got your season ticket in a certain block, it just makes you feel good to see it. You know, I've got it on the wall, and I think, yeah, when I look at it, that's my Arsenal. That's where I go into the ground. Has he bitten yet, Ferg? Dan? I love it. If any season ticket holders are watching, go on Ruth's website. Your block entrance is probably on there, and you can get a lovely print at a very reasonable price.
And if it's not, message me, and I'll paint it sooner than later. I did loads and loads, and I've kind of lost a little bit of momentum to do them, but I need to finish them. Like I say, I've only got a few left to do, but they're definitely all on my website, but they will be on my Shopify.
Well, Fergus is looking a lot better than normal. Oh, he's back.
That was early tonight, Ferg. That was quick. That disappearing act tonight, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'm under fierce pressure.
So, listen, what are you working on at the moment, Ruth? Any secrets? Any new stuff?
I've just finished a commission. That was a private commission for someone's house, of their dad's house. But the main thing I'm doing is like the Christmas stuff. I'm doing the, the little cards. Yeah. Embellishing them, so they've all got like little bits of glitter and that. So they're card sets, because obviously Christmas is my main thing. But I've got a nice reference of Timbo and Trossard, which I thought I might have a go at. But I'm doing more of the Islington bit, some of the pubs. To be fair, I've done most of the pubs. I need to probably take a look back and improve them, because obviously they were done 5 years ago, so my style was changing. So I want to do the 12 pins again. Do you still drink in there? Was it the Woodbine now?
We spend most of our time in the Woodbine now.
My dad used to drink in there in the 70s. I love that pub.
The manager,
very special to me.
Fergus is friendly with the manager of the Woodbine, and he really looks after us. Ruth, he saves us a table for every game, and really does take care of us. Top man. So we very much enjoy going in there. But Ruth, just before we move on, tell us a bit more about what you've done for the Benkin Cellar Trust, Ruth, because it's really important work that the Benkin Cellar Trust do, and I know you've been a massive help towards that. Just tell us a bit about it, Ruth.
So obviously Benkin Cellar, for those who don't know, was a young man who was killed in Islington through knife crime, and he was the best friend of Louis Dunford. So they went to school together. Louis's written a song about him, and there's been a charity in Islington for quite a few years now that raises awareness of knife crime in schools and in all over, really. They've got a great website. You can get loads of information from them. So when Louis released that famous song, The Angel, I fell in love with the song because it epitomises Islington to me, and Arsenal was just an element of it. And I couldn't believe when I first heard it that it was, you know, about Islington and Arsenal. So we went, my husband and I we went to see him live at the Union Chapel in the April a couple of years ago, and North London Forever was great, you know, gaining momentum as people were saying, oh, it should be the anthem at the Arsenal. So we eventually it became the anthem, didn't it? And I have my own North London Forever logo, which you've seen. And as a fitting tribute, I thought I'll get these made up in badges and stickers and what have you, and a percentage of the North London Forever stuff, because of Louis Dunford's connection with Ben Kinsella and Islington. It all came round, and I just thought I'll, you know, send some of the proceeds to the charity, which I've done. And to date, I think we've raised almost £1,000, which is great because my stickers are only £2 each, you know. So yeah, each month or every couple of months, I send a donation through to Robert Ben Kinsella, and he's emailed me back and thanked me and everything. And yeah, even my portrait behind me is an Islington one, and I sell that framed, and then proceeds of that go to the charity as well. So yeah, it's been, yeah, it's ongoing. It hasn't stopped. When I get my site open again and we do some more sales, yeah, it'll just continue for however long the badges and the stickers and whatever sell. Then we'll send the contributions onto the charity. So yeah, it's all, you know,
that's admirable work, Ruth. That's
and
admirable
also,
work.
And the art, obviously, I work with Mike for Gooners v Cancer, and the art raises money for the cancer. And then I did the Tony Eastlake painting. I don't know if you remember that, the flower seller of Islington. He was again murdered in knife crime in Islington, and we raised money. His daughter is my sister-in-law's niece's daughter as well, so there's a family connection there. So I did the painting of Tony, and we raised £600 for the GoFundMe, which was for the funeral. So it's amazing how the art connects with people, and then we can sell it, raise money, and it goes back into really good causes. So
it's also amazing how that you're embraced by the Arsenal community, by what you do about Islington and your love of Islington and Arsenal Football Club. So I think it's absolutely brilliant, Ruth. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to thank everybody that has supported it all for these last 5 years since I've been doing it. And it's grown momentum, and it's been an honour, really. Yeah, really is.
So to summarise then, Ruth, just to make sure we've got it all right, your artwork is now going to appear on Shopify.
Yeah, it'll be on my website, ruthbedhart.com.
On your website, people click on there. I've seen the Christmas cards on there already. It's full of Christmas cards, full of great stuff. Your charity work is truly humbling, Ruth. Truly humbling what you've done there, and it's an honour and a pleasure to know you, my dear.
Likewise, I adore you guys. You are my.
I mean, I can understand it with me and Dan and Alex. How do you adore Fergus? How do you work?
We've got some Irish kindred blood spirit there, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah,
we have.
Before we move on to talk about yesterday's game, is there anything we've forgotten, my dear? Anything else you want to add?
You really have covered everything. I'm so grateful, and I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity to sort of, you know, say what's been going on, because it's so quick. From Thursday to today, my life, the whole thing that I've been doing has changed completely. So yes, thank you for this opportunity, and you've covered everything. So yeah, I better go and let you talk about the mighty Arsenal and Liverpool, because I'm sort of chomping at the bit to get into that.
I'll hand you over to Fergus to finish off, Ruth. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ruth.
All the best, Ruth.
Thanks.
We'll be in touch, and I'm sure we'll meet up for a Christmas drink somewhere like we did last year, at some point or something
Definitely.
like that.
I'd love fun. That. And I'll have a Guinness with you, Ferg.
Yeah, you know where.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, Ruth. Take it easy.
Everyone.
Love to Darren and everybody else. See you
later.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Ferg, what a great way to start the show, eh? Wonderful. Yep. I love Ruth.
Yeah, it's better than VAR and PGMOL and all that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Oh, that's banned for today. No talking of that.
Yeah. Listen, boys, let's talk the football then. So let me see if I can get the things up here. So Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2, Arteta and me as well on reflection feel it was probably 2 points dropped rather than a point gained. Although leading up to the fixture, we were a little bit worried about, there was a lot of talk about when Saka was available, whether Timber will be available and everything else. Dan, I'll come to you first on the lineups and the fact that we did have Partey at right back, Saka and Timber playing. So it was Raya, Partey, White, Gabriel, Timber, Rice, Marino, Trossard, Saka, Martinelli and Havertz. The best we could have done with what we had available and better than we thought 24 hours before the game.
Yes and no. I always expected Saka to start and Timber as well. I thought that they would be fit for this game. There was a few others that were question marks that we were thinking wouldn't start, but I still maintain I think Partey's much better in the middle. He had a great game at right back. It's not about what he brings at right back. It's more about what's missing when he's not in midfield. And I still feel like we at times missed his composure in the middle of the park and his ability to stamp his authority on the game. Whereas when he's at right back, he's a bit more on the outskirts when we're on the ball, as opposed to when we're not on the ball. But a really strong lineup, and personally a lineup that's strong enough to still get 3 points against Liverpool, in my opinion.
Alex, Ben White playing centre half. That's the sort of position we thought that it would be best for him to play. And Partey, like Dan said, we weren't overly keen on having him at right back, but we knew it was the option with the limitations we had in defence. How did you feel that the lineups shaped up and Ben White getting an assist after 9 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see because I think we all thought Saliba he would have started if he was available. But Ben White brings some different qualities when he plays in centre half. And I think that's what we saw when he played that ball through to Saka in the beginning of the game. He's a really good passer off the ball, and I mean, we don't know if Saliba would have made that pass, but that's what he brings, Ben White, when he plays in there. He's got good vision and he's a good passer off the ball, and that was a brilliant pass. So yeah, I think we saw some different qualities in what he brings to the pitch. Compared to when he's at the right back. And yeah, I think he overall had a good game, Ben White. When you look at the players we ended up playing in defence, I think he did all right. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Dan with Partey. I think he's best in midfield, but I think he had a good game. Luis Diaz is a difficult player to handle. I think he did it really well. They brought on, I think, Gakpo quite early in the second half because he was doing well and Diaz wasn't creating much. He looked frustrated as well. He committed a lot of fouls, Diaz. Tried to kick the ball away a couple of times. Probably should have been penalised. But yeah, he didn't have a good game and Partey had a part to play in that. But yeah, I think we did well in the game. And I think the lineup we put on the field were capable of winning the game. And it was probably more of a mentality thing throughout the game that ended up costing us the points rather than the ability on the pitch. Because I think what we saw was that we dominated them in the first half and the players on the pitch were capable. I think something shifted when Gabriel went off, but yeah, I'll save that for later.
Trevor, you watched up in the Northwest because with clocks going back and travel and up there supporting Donna and the family for their walk, which they completed, and they've raised over £1,300. Remember, you can go and we'll put the link up later if people want to carry on making donations. You watched it on TV. What was your thoughts on the lineup and that first goal from Saka? It was just such a beautiful ball by Ben White.
Look, I mean, like most people, I wouldn't say I've been worried all week, but I've been wondrous all week, thinking who's going to go where and who's going to do what. And I think it turned out exactly as I expected it, really. I didn't mind White being in the middle. I didn't mind Partey being at right back. I agree with Dan. Playing Partey at right back removes him from his best position for us. But if we're going to put anybody at right back, I'd rather put Partey there because I trust Partey. I trust Partey as the last line of defence. I want to see him playing further up the field. Of course I do. But when it comes to moments like that game, I wasn't upset that he was playing there and White was playing in the middle. I thought the White was outstanding in the middle. He just adapted. And some of his reading of the passes and cutting out of the forward passes from Liverpool was absolutely superb. And we all saw the ball he played through for Saka. And not moving. If we're going up to the goal Saka scored, maybe I'll lead into that by saying that firstly, I thought Thomas Partey was man of the match, by the way. You could have given it to 3 or 4 Arsenal players. But I thought Saka's finish, the power he got behind that ball with no backlift, oh my word. Oh, it was an astonishing finish. It was absolutely astonishing finish. The game did change. As Alex just said, I think when Gabriel got injured and then when Timber went off, we didn't look quite the same. But we're going to talk about that in a bit. But up until then and after then, another day we beat Liverpool with basically a side with 3 or 4 players playing out of position. So I can't be upset. I would have loved us to win, but I'm not crying my eyes out that we've got a draw because I'm coming away thinking another day we win that.
Yeah. 17 minutes in, we conceded from Virgil van Dijk. Dan, does it worry you that it's 2 games in a row that we've conceded from an area that we've been very, very strong at our set pieces ourselves and defending set pieces? We've also been equally strong, and that's twice in a row. Am I just reading something into it?
No, I mean, look, you can see goals at times in the season from set pieces, and they're a bit like buses. They do tend to come around one after the other, but we've got so many big guys at the back out injured at the minute. It's for me impossible for it to not have an effect. I think that's an area we're still pretty strong at. When we've got our best defence out and playing, I think we're fine. Look, Liverpool were a very, very good side in the air, by the way. Konate and Van Dijk at the back dominate absolutely everything, which is why you saw Havertz move out onto that sort of right wing along with Saka quite a bit during the game. We know we're not going to get joy up against them. It's probably one of the only teams in the league that I would probably say at the minute in the air are as good as us.
Later into that first half, there's a couple of incidents that I put on the Twitter, like, is it Diaz kicks the ball away from the McAllister foul on Saka? The foul on Saka was nasty anyway, but kicking the ball away, and yet again another referee right in front of him doesn't take any action. And then the penalty claim on Martinelli. Trevor, I'll come to you on those because you watched them on the TV. We watched them through beer goggles, so I didn't see it until this morning when I rewatched. What were your thoughts on those 2 particular, VAR decisions? I know there's another one coming up in a minute as well.
Strangely enough, though, I'd had a few beers myself when I was watching it out there. You have to when you're watching it with a load of Man United fans. You have to be slightly inebriated. But no, I'm fed up talking about VAR and the officials, Ferg. It's just driving me to distraction. It's like it's actually sickening me a bit now. And there was a tweet today from Deb's. Hang on a minute, I sent it to you, didn't I? Hang on a minute. She put a tweet up, right, and it summed it up, right, absolutely perfectly. What's going on at the minute in the Premier League, and I can't find it now.
I'll get it. I've got it.
You know what I mean? Here you go. Debs Wakeford put a tweet on Twitter today, and she said, "Everyone seems to know how bad Premier League officials are, except for the very people who could do something about it." And that's absolutely perfect. Today we've got Man United fans moaning, right, and others, but it's someone else's turn next week. But I can't talk about it anymore. It makes me sick. There's something going on in our game. I just caught a bit of ref watch today. When we were packing to come home, we had Sky News on and ref watch, and there's Dermot Gallagher on. And all that happens on that ref watch is Dermot Gallagher says something, and the 3 other presenters just kiss his backside. And they have like they're having a cozy little chat, Yeah, well, it doesn't sum up us fans' frustrations. If I'm going to watch ref watch, I want to see someone on there that's going to say, hang on a minute, Dermot, how about we look at it from this angle? How about we look at it from this perspective? How about we go back and look at this, and this? But they don't. They just kiss his backside. The bloke gets an easy ride. And it's so frustrating. I can't talk about VAR, Ferg. I mean, our first goal, they looked at it for 3 minutes, and even the people on the telly were saying you can clearly see Van Dijk's big blue boot. That's an angle there, but they had other angles that showed Van Dijk's big blue boot clearly playing everybody onside. Clearly, everybody could see it. Everybody watching, everybody on telly, apart from the VAR people who took 3 minutes. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with. I don't know. I ain't got words. I don't have words.
Dan, trying to keep you awake because I know you're hanging. The penalty claim from Martinelli, did you, on reflection, do you think it was a penalty? Personally, I didn't when I saw it this morning on Match of the Day, but then I carried on to watch Match of the Day and seeing West Ham get a penalty for even less innocuous. It's just a joke, isn't it? I
mean, firstly, just backtracking a little bit, I don't know if you also watched Match of the Day on the Luis Diaz kicking the ball away. I can't remember if it was a commentator or someone on there, but someone said, perhaps he didn't kick it hard enough. And honestly, I was livid when I watched that because clearly
I think they carried on to say it only happens to Arsenal or something like that as well.
But clearly Declan Rice absolutely booted the ball away against Brighton. You know, that's how hard you have to kick the ball away to get the card nowadays for that. But I don't mind as much on the offside that they get it right. Okay, if they're going to draw lines and they're going to do it, I don't mind it taking a bit longer. I think that will get reduced when they have the semi-automated offsides that come in. But look, at least they're checking it, and at least they got to the right decision. That for me is the main principle: is get the decision right, because that's the only one at the minute that they are getting right for me. Still the offsides, even though it's taking too long. The rest of it, they've just lost control, and I think they've lost reality of what the game's about. You know, that penalty that Man United conceded, I just don't think anyone that plays the game would ever give that as a penalty. And if you're going to give it, you're going to give 10 penalties a game. Just be consistent, as we've been saying all the time. But the one on Martinelli, if I'm honest, I don't actually think that's a penalty. I think a lot of people on Twitter, by the way, have seen angles that make it look like it wasn't. It was a penalty. If you see a different angle, you actually see him that he does get a touch on the ball. And for me, if that was Arsenal and we got a touch on the ball, I wouldn't want that given as a penalty. I think more so the chance afterwards that fell to Havertz, maybe we should have done a bit better. So for me, not a penalty on that one. I think they actually got that right.
Yeah, the thing is with the offsides, we were talking about offside in the ground, and it's one of the vague, foggy memories I've got, and talking about
just back to that, Gary Ward said he saw you at 10 pints, so it was good to know he saw you early on in the day because you had a lot more than that.
Oh, Gary, I was not in a good place. But I did say when that VAR was going on for as long as it was, I was effing and blind about VAR, and then I looked up, and along the west stand, there's this here. There's a camera that moves along with the ball, and it's for EA Sports, and it's about a live game interaction sort of thing. Apparently, it's been trialed at Arsenal. I don't know. It's at City, I think, as well. But surely, if that camera angle is there, that's running in line with the ball. There should be no arguments, especially at the Emirates Stadium. It's not always at every game, I will add, but when it's been used, Alex, surely you work in sports. Surely somebody should be saying, "Can't we use that angle?"
Yeah, I don't know what the agreements are with what cameras they used, but yeah, I think it was probably just a case of it was a big game and they were so scared to get it wrong. They've cocked it up a couple of times before. Lee Mason, he got dismissed from the PGMOL after he forgot to check for offside against when we played Brentford, didn't he? And then last season as well, Liverpool, they were on the end of a wrong decision where they messed up the offside decision. So it was probably just a case of it was a massive game and they wanted to check everything through and make sure. But yeah, it just makes it so annoying even as you're watching on the telly, you think, well, it's onside, so what's going on? And yeah, I can't think of in the stadium. You must have been thinking loads as well. So yeah, but we must sound like a broken record talking about refs and PGMO.
It is dreadful, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And we're probably not going to see any change until they bring in international referees, because it's the same old every single weekend. We see one decision in one game, we see similar situation, different decision in the next game. There's just no consistency.
Yeah. The one thing I would say, just before we batter them later, because quite rightly we are going to batter them later, this is the only one I actually slightly feel a little bit sorry for them for, in that you do have to determine who plays the ball at what point. Does it get a deflection? Does it touch someone else on the way through? Is there a knee? Is there a foot? Is there something sticking out? I don't think it's as quick and easy all the time as people think it is. You know, that they've got technology that they've delayed bringing in. I don't know why they've delayed it. That's more frustrating for me. But if they're getting the right decision, I don't really care if it takes a little bit longer. It's the ones later where we're quite clearly not getting right decisions that
maybe they haven't had enough money from the betting syndicates in China. Oh, did I say that out loud?
One we didn't go over was the Van Dijk in the beginning of the match, him sort of kicking out of Havertz. Yeah,
I saw that, and to be honest, I saw a lot on Twitter about, you know, he should have had a yellow or 2 yellows and so on. It's a bit of you know, a bit of afters, but I didn't see it as a major issue, because I see some of our players do similar sort of stuff. Dan, you're shaking your head.
No, mate, I'm sorry. If you watch that back, he's kicked him twice. He's clearly. It's not even a yellow; it's a red card, mate. Both of them. You can't kick a player. How many times, by the way, have we seen Arsenal players over the years kick out and not even make contact with the player? You only got to go back years to Vieira at Old Trafford when he went to kick out Van Nistelrooy and didn't even touch him and got a second yellow for that. It's ridiculous. You cannot kick a player. It's off the ball. The ball's gone. Havertz is doing nothing to him. He's got his hand on him, maybe. And Van Dijk
lost his head.
Like Van Dijk is just, you can't tell me that any part of that is natural movement. He's just kicked the player twice.
Trev?
Oh, absolutely. Van Dijk has kicked Havertz nowhere near the ball. Van Dijk is, you know, we know that Van Dijk can be a bit of a spoilt brat sometimes. He has that spoilt brat look on his face. That's exactly the look he had on his face. I don't know what Havertz had done, but it didn't warrant being kicked off the ball twice. Proper kicks, by the way, studs up, back kicks into his legs. If that's an Arsenal player, VAR intervenes and he's gone. Or whatever, I don't know if VAR can intervene. I think it can for serious foul play, can't it? So if that's an Arsenal player, he's off the field. Not even 99%, 100%. 100%.
VAR can intervene like they did against Saliba, where it's a possible offside infringement, and that's what their argument with Saliba last week. Listen, let's try and we will, as you said, Dan, come back to VAR.
I'm surprised I've not even really looked at that, by the way. Like I would have expected that to at least stop play and had something looked at that. That's not a small little incident where we're just being biased for me.
You think
any other team in any other game without Arsenal being involved, I'd be calling for a red card. There's no bias there at all. He's kicked the
Alex,
player.
Do you think it's because it was so early in the game?
I just think they're incompetent. I think they don't know how to run a game.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking about VAR intervening in things that are not clear and obvious. For me, that's beyond clear and obvious. That's just reckless, and he's kicked a player. I don't think anyone other than a Liverpool fan would say that is not a red card. I just don't believe it. It's a huge error from VAR.
Thanks for that, Alex.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Alex, talk to me on Moreno and his performance, and what a great header from this set piece. Again, set piece kings. Arsenal get a goal from that foul that was on Saka.
Yeah, I think Moreno had apart from the goal, had a quite good game. He made things tick in the midfield, and especially in the first half when we really dominated them in the midfield. I think he was a big part of that, and he made it tick in there. And then, yeah, we also saw what he brings to the table, his physicality and his height and his heading. He's good at getting in the box, and he nearly scored one earlier, didn't he? Where he nearly got on the end of a similar free kick. So, yeah, I mean, we just got to see some of his qualities in this game. And, yeah, it was a brilliant header and a good delivery from Rice. We've missed that, haven't we? He made loads of those last season, but we haven't seen too many of them this season. So it's good to see he still got it in his locker.
I think that Marino got a bit lucky at the start, right?
Because he made a big mistake.
Fell off the mark, and He was very lackadaisical when he was the last man, and put Salah in another day. 9 out of 10 times Salah buries that. You know what I mean? Mohamed Salah buries that, but he missed it. And after that, I thought that sort of kicked Marino's backside a little bit, and he lifted himself, and there was much more in the game. You could. Yesterday was the first time when I've thought to myself, yeah, there's actually a quality player here coming into the Arsenal. Might take a little bit of time, but we've actually got. That's the first time yesterday I thought we've got a quality player coming in.
Second half. By the way, my chair is particularly noisy tonight. It's creaking away and everything else. I've got a new chair. It's downstairs. I'm going to get it built tomorrow, so it's going to add to my red and white of the Arsenal.
Is that you telling us that you've got wind and you're pretending it's your chair?
No. The Guinness it's gone. So that's enough. Second half, Liverpool did come back into the second half a bit more, but to be honest, whilst we had Timber and Gabriel on the pitch, as somebody alluded to earlier on, I think we're in pretty good control of the game. Timber did tire, and he ended up sitting down in the box because he was getting cramp. And Gabriel got a knee injury. I don't think, we talked about it before we came on, we don't think anything too serious, because he was seen on the bench afterwards, some ice on it, which hopefully means it's just like a slight knock. But Gabriel and Timber went off. Kiwior and Lewis Skelly came on. And 4 minutes later, Lewis Kelly, in my view, I thought was a little bit naive, and he was a little bit too far up the pitch and very keen. He did almost create a chance just a few minutes beforehand in us getting another goal, but he was quite keen and up the pitch, left an awful lot of space for Mo Salah, and subsequently Mo Salah equalised.
I mean, of course, he's 17 years old and he's been on the field 4 minutes. Yeah. You don't give the bloke a chance, Fergus. Just say he was shit. Why don't you say it?
I didn't say he was shit.
He's been on 4 minutes and he's 17. He's under instruction from Mikel Arteta. Jesus Christ, man.
It's better than blaming Kiwior, who was running over to cover him.
I'm not blaming anyone, Ferg, because these things, we're playing Liverpool. We're not playing Tin Pot United. We're playing Liverpool. Don't matter how good you are, Liverpool are going to get a chance or two, you know? But we're so quick to apportion blame. Why not just say, Liverpool broke and made a great move, scored a goal. Move on, we're the Arsenal.
Okay, next we subbed off Saka and Martinelli.
should we go over the goal anyway?
Before Ferg moves on, I'm just going to wait for Trev to bite at this. Lewis Skelly made a mistake.
Well, right. I'm not biting because you're nearly as big a dick as Fergus. Sometimes
he's really biting. He's swearing a lot.
I'll be honest, right? Look, he's a young lad and he's got great potential, and he's not a fullback. He's a midfielder playing out of position. So all of those things, 100% agree with what Trev's trying to say. But factually, he did make a mistake. He came on and Timber going off and Gabriel going off made a huge difference in our team. We lost organisation for a little bit. He just drifted that little bit too much in a time when I'm surprised we actually did that, because the whole of the second half, I'm sitting there thinking, get up the pitch, get out. We're dropping way too deep. We look too nervous about these players. We look like we know we've got a back four that's made up of different pieces that shouldn't be there. And the one time we do, we get punished. And when you make a mistake like that against a player like Mo Salah, you're not going to recover. So, look, it was unlucky you made a mistake, but I think it was a mistake, personally. I think if you have Jurien Timber on the pitch at that point, he doesn't do that.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
Alex,
of course you don't, because Jurien Timber's been on the field the whole game, got the pace of the game in him. No, Reed Saka is a quality defender, Jurien Timber, with many more years' experience. Of course he don't make that mistake. Liverpool don't score that goal. Unfortunately, we didn't have Timber on the field. We had a young lad called Skelly on the field who got a little bit out of position, but that's no reason to blame him. You know, we don't blame kids like that. We say hopefully they improve from situations like that. Ferg, just before you move on, I want to talk about the substitutions. I had a right lucky day yesterday, mate. I had a lucky day. I did a 4-team accumulator, right? I did West Ham to win. I did Palace to win. I did Chelsea to win and Arsenal to win. I had a fiver. It's going to pay me out 249 quid. So obviously the Arsenal kickoff, I'm not going to cash it out because I trust the Arsenal. But when Gabriel went off, it was on 160 quid, and I thought, hang on, I'm taking that. I'm not having no Gabriel and no Saliba. So I took me 160 quid, and it worked out right because Lewis Skelly, just got a little bit out of position. I'm not blaming the lad; he can't help it, but
Alex,
yeah, had a nice little win. Shall
Alex,
I let him move on? Or shall I keep waffling?
Shut up. I'm going to put you on mute in a second. Alex, Leanne, what's a really good question here, and it's more an analysis of the position of the players than criticising. Should Kiwior have left Lewis Skelly's space, and rather than trying to cover that area, should he just cover his own area instead?
I mean, it sort of went wrong when Salah drifted in centrally and Nunes went out wide. Something got lost there between Kiwior and Skelly. And to be fair, I think before that as well, I think Martinelli kind of sold the team. I mean, we were like the team was moving forward, we were breaking, and Martinelli just runs straight in, like head down, straight into Virgil van Dijk and Trent. And yeah, they just catch us off that because we know how good Trent is with his passing. And that was a good pass. I think I was expecting a lot of Martinelli because he usually plays well against Liverpool. They usually focus so much on Saka that it leaves space and time for Martinelli. But I don't think he had the best game yesterday. He had a lot of space, but offensively, it just never really worked out for him.
Can I just jump in there quick, Alex? Because
of course.
I don't fully agree with that, and I don't fully agree with some of the comments in the chat, right? And we're very, very quick, quite rightly, to protect a young player. So I'm absolutely not having a go at a young player here at all. But we are also very quick to jump on the bandwagon with players that are out of form, like Martinelli, and say he made a mistake. For me, the bigger mistake isn't Martinelli up the pitch losing the ball. That happens at times. Yes, it's a mistake as well. But Lewis Skelly was out of position. He made a mistake. And he's made an equal mistake to Martinelli. But we're only going to pick one as the scapegoat out of the two, and that's going to be Martinelli. And for me, I don't think any of them should be picked one over the other at the minute. I know one's more.
That was my point.
Player.
That was my point. You
wait a minute, Alex.
So many different. No, Trev.
Let me come in between you two, right?
Go on.
Let me come in between you.
Trev, you're annoying me.
Right? Alex, because I noticed the Martinelli lost the ball easily up the field, right? And I think that's the reason why Skelly was out of position, because he thought that Martinelli was away, and Martinelli just ran straight into the defender. So I'm backing you up here, Alex. You've got a really good point, mate. Right, go for it.
My point was just that you could point to many things, and you could point to the Martinelli thing starting where it all went wrong, and then you can point to Skelly being caught up high on the pitch. Then you can point to Kiwior and him not communicating who's going to mark who. And yeah, you just shouldn't pin it on one guy, as Dan said. I mean, it was a good goal. Good pass from Trent. Well done, Nunes, and we know he's going to score when he's in that position, Salah. So yeah, I mean, just instead of ranting about our own players, just like you said, move on with Arsenal.
So that's exactly what I said at the start.
I don't think it was a goal.
Why are we blaming Skelly? Why are we blaming?
But you could always point to things when goals are scored.
I'll go to the end and say I think that's a really poor goal to concede. To be honest, the frustration coming out of this game is, right, we played against a good side at home, being Liverpool. Played at home against a big side. I thought we played very, very well in the first half and should have put the game to bed. Second half, I feel like we dropped off a bit too much. And at the minute, I think we need to improve massively if we're going to go and win the league title, because I don't think that second half was good enough, if I'm totally honest, for us to go and win the league. And you can make, scapegoats about players made mistakes or there's people missing this, that, and whatever. There was enough on that pitch for us to win that game. And if we're going to win the title, we should be winning games like that, because we've made two mistakes in that game, conceding from a set piece, which we should be more switched on for, and a ball over the top with the striker running in behind, where we should be better positioned, being 2-1 up at that phase of the game to deal with transitions like that. That's a basic mistake at football, to be managing transitions. And that's what we've been so good at doing for the last 12 months. But the team made a mistake. You can point some other individuals out that made, in my opinion, more of a mistake than others, but the team made a mistake in transition there, and it was a sloppy goal.
Yeah, moving on a little bit. there's a comment about Zinchenko in the chat, which we'll talk about probably in a few minutes. But
I'll start that up first.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Saka and Martinelli were taken off for Jesus and Naweri. Was it too late to bring him on? A young starlet, a young player. Jesus, we know, is hot and cold at the minute. But I know we were 2-1 up on probably 5-10 minutes ago, Alex. But if we'd gone 3-1 up, it's a completely different game. And do we bring on that firepower? Are we some idiot on Sky come along and I think it was Carragher tried to say that that Arteta and Arsenal are morphing into Mourinho. But the point I think he was trying to make is that we are going far, far more defensive. I'm not trying to give him any credibility or any credence whatsoever, but I just think that were we too defensive minded, and then when we went 2-2, that we had to put on Jesus and Naweri so late.
I think, were we too defensively minded? I mean, yes and no. I think the personnel we had on the field towards the end kind of made us have to be more defensively than he probably would have wanted to be. I think we saw in the first half, especially before they scored and then after they scored the equaliser, I think we saw probably how Arteta wanted to play for the whole game. When Gabriel went off, that sort of switched something within the team, and it probably subconsciously made them, just step back a bit. And for me, that's probably where I would have wanted the team to press on a bit, because we had them there for the taking, and apart from the goal in which they scored in the second half, it wasn't like they created much in the second half. We were solid on the field, and then the substitutions. I think Martinelli, he's our quickest player on the team probably, so I understand why we left him on there to attack them, because they were quite high on the pitch, Liverpool, and they were pressing. So, but I think Nwaneri did well when he came on, which he, like he does every time he comes on the pitch. He looks bright, nifty on the ball. I think he had a chance towards the end, but he just looks good around the penalty area. And we sort of pressed on, because when they equalised, it was sort of who goes on to press now. And I think they were happy about 2-2. And then we kind of pressed towards the end. And I think Nwaneri did well. Jesus as well. He's got that X factor. He creates a bit of chaos in the opposition's defence. So I think that the substitutions was a reaction to them scoring the equaliser. So I'm not too mad about that. And then, that sort of leads into the situation around the 90-minute mark, I suppose, where we almost get the equaliser, but the referee blows the whistle a bit early. And yeah, in my opinion, that's another error from the ref, and probably the biggest one in the game. We can talk about what happens afterwards, but in my opinion, that's just not a foul. And in such a crucial area, you just don't blow the whistle. You wait and see how it plays out, and then VAR can intervene. But yeah, I don't know what your guys' opinions is on that, because he blew the whistle for the foul on Kivior, didn't he?
No, I thought. Go on, Trev. Go on.
Yeah, we can't move on to that yet. That's an important part of the game. That's right at the end of the game. I like what Matthew's put here. I don't think we would try and sit back in the second half. I just think we weren't able to get up the pitch, which is an interesting point, right? Because we didn't lose Gabriel for the last 10 or 15 minutes. We lost Gabriel with 36 minutes of the game still to play. It was only just after half time, And I'm sorry, a team like Liverpool, if they see the Arsenal with two talismen of the caliber of
Saliba and Gabriel.
Saliba and Gabriel both missing the rock of our defence that's carried us through most of the last couple of seasons. Saliba's not playing, and when they see Gabriel go off, that's going to lift any side. I'm sorry, I'm not having that we played that badly after that, but the fact that we've got our central defence has changed, right? We've got Kivior and we've got White, two very capable footballers, but they're not Gabriel and Saliba. That's going to lift any team, especially with that much of the game to go. So I just think we were going to come under pressure anyway. As for the as for the bit at the end of the game, the winning goal, Alex, are we ready to move on to that yet, Ferg?
Yeah, for sure. That's where we were there, but you pulled it back as usual.
Can I just come back to that very quickly, Trev? And a question for you guys. Do you think at the minute then, the way that we are seemingly dropping off and switching our mentality very, very quickly when we either get a red card or when we are 2-1 up and dropping into that defensive unit, do you think that's good enough at this stage of the season for us to be able to win the title? Because I see that last 35 minutes as a very, very poor 35 minutes. And I would rather us stick to what we know and be a team on the front foot at home in that game and still maybe concede a goal by coming out as opposed to dropping in and trying to hang on for a 2-1 win. I think getting out was a mentality issue, not any other issue, because I think if we commit more players forward and we play in spaces, we get out against that Liverpool team. They didn't keep us penned in like we normally do to teams at home. There were spaces there for us to get out the pitch. We just didn't want to at times.
I think I said to one of you guys after the Bournemouth game, and even following the Champions League midweek, that the way we're playing at this current moment in time, whilst we are getting there and we're still in the mix, I don't think we're pushing and challenging on either front quite as much as other teams are. Even if you look at the Champions League side of things, yes, we're getting the results. Yes, we've drawn 1 and won 3, but we're not scoring enough goals, and I don't think we're aggressive and attacking enough as much as I'd like us to be. Who wants to come back?
I think we got pushed back. Exactly the opposite to what Dan said. I think we got pushed back by a team from Liverpool that were playing exceptionally well. I think we wanted to get out. We showed that at times, but we were tied down by some excellent Liverpool play, and it happens. It happens, you know. I can't blame the Arsenal for that. And someone alluded to it very briefly in the comments, but what does go through Arsenal players' minds at the moment is that having an input on the way we're playing, the way we've been with referees over the last few months. You know, are they thinking, I better not put a foot in there, I'll be gone. I better not stand in front of that ball at a free kick and block the pass like everyone else does because I'll be gone. You know, I better not push the ball away a bit at a throw-in because I'll be off. Are those decisions we've been on the wrong end of actually inhibiting the way our players are playing? Is it in the back of their heads all the time that they've got to be careful? Otherwise, they're going to see yellow and red cards that nobody else sees.
I hope not.
I get that, right? And I really do. And actually, that comment leads straight into what I was going to say. It's good timing, that comment, in that I feel like we're a little bit poor me at the minute. And I absolutely agree that all these decisions are going against us. Like, there's no doubt about it. But if you're going to have that mentality to go and challenge City and win a title, we've got to get over that very, very quickly. Because at the minute, if we just sit there and say, poor me, we've got all these injuries, all these decisions are going against us, we're not going to finish anywhere. We've got to get beyond that and say, okay, it's going to happen. Now move on. But if we want to be champions, let's act like it. I'm really disappointed with that second half. And it's not the result, right? I can accept the draw against Liverpool, by all means. Can even sometimes take a loss against Liverpool. They're a great side. But I think the way we played and the performance in that second half is what disappoints me more than the result.
I think a comment to that is, I think a lot of that poor me, I don't think Arteta sees it in that way. And that's not the way he communicates. I mean, when he gets asked about the injuries, he never complains. And I don't think he communicates in any way like that to the squad as well. I think it's probably a media narrative and parts of the fan base as well. And some fans use it as an excuse or whatever. And it took up a lot of the build-up to the game with Saka and Timber as well with injuries. But I don't think Arteta really sees it in that way. I think he just he's very pragmatic, and he's become more pragmatic with the years. And I think he just looks at every game and situation in the game and think, how can I get 3 points? And when we've gone a man down, or when we play City and gone a man down, park the bus. And probably the same in Bournemouth, sit back a bit, and then maybe let's see what happens. And in this game, we had Gabriel go off, Timber go off. Then we have Marino playing his full first debut at home. Saka fitness issue. I mean, maybe, I mean, he knows it better than we do. Maybe he just didn't think that we had the fitness or whatever to push Liverpool back. And like Trev said, they are playing well at the moment, Liverpool. And I agree with Dan. I mean, I wish I was calling for them to sort of get more upfield and press them back. But I mean, maybe we just didn't have the fitness, whatever. But I don't think it's that big of an issue in regards to the title race. I think we've been on the wrong end of some decisions. And when you look at the games individually, I think we've done all right. And I'm not too worried about the title race itself. We're only 5 points behind at the moment. And we've gone to some really difficult away grounds.
Look, right.
Away grounds.
Only 5 behind? I mean, it's a long way back still.
And if you're worried about us being 5 behind 6 games into the season, think again, pal. There's a long way to go. There's plenty of ups and downs to go yet. Don't worry about how far behind we are. What's really, and I just want to lead into, because this will get you talking again, Dan, Alex, leading into a comment from Simon in a minute. I mean, if yesterday, halfway through the second half, we've got White at right back, Gabriel and Saliba in the middle of defence, Timber at left back, and we've got Rice and Partey in the midfield, and we're sitting back, then I'm asking bloody questions. Then I'm saying, what the bloody hell is going on here, right? But we didn't. But look at this comment from Simon, right? How relevant is this, right? Is this part of the reason why we are not playing so further up the field so much? What have we missed in the last month is the composure of Odegaard. He gives us the middle of the park. He reads the game, pushes us further up the pitch with his intelligent passing, and he presses hard up the pitch, and we win the ball higher up the pitch with Odegaard. Is that part of what we're talking about? The bigger picture. Come on, Fergus.
I do think I said it. I think on the preview show, or maybe last week, missing Saka and missing Odegaard was huge. And I was also said privately to you guys, if we didn't have Saka and Odegaard in the game at the weekend, I thought we would have paid a huge price. And we then would be definitely saying, well, hang on a second, we're that far behind. Is it too far? But having Saka, and as a good player as he is, does give us some outlet. I thought the tactics that Havertz and how Havertz was played to open the space up for Trossard was really, really good. But when you've got a player that's as good as Martin Odegaard, as good as Trossard can be, you're not going to replace that easily with anybody else. Just briefly, in your responses, did anybody see a foul on Kivior for that goal, that disallowed goal? But carry on and answer that. Dan, you go first, and then Alex.
Yeah, I mean, look, firstly, Trev, I massively agree with your point, by the way, of 5 points behind after a few games. There's a long way to go. There's absolutely a long way to go. And not only is there a long way to go, we've got the squad and the quality to be able to do it. And I think in the last 10 years, there was a stat somewhere where like 70% of teams at one point in the season have been 7 or 8 points behind and then gone on to win the title. My problem here is that team has always been Man City. And we know how good Man City are in the back 19 of the season. And not only have we got to then match them in the run-in, we've now got to pick up points ahead of that as well. So my comment was more on the only 5 points bit, because for me, 5 points in the Premier League is still a big way to come back, even though we are massively capable and there's a huge amount of twists and turns to come. But as I said, it's just for me, the mentality at the minute, I was more worried about more than anything. We are missing big players, but so are other teams. Alisson for Liverpool is a big miss for Liverpool. He's huge in what they do in their defence. Rodri for Man City is a huge miss for Man City, and teams have to deal with that, and we have to deal with the loss of Odegaard's and Saka's. And yeah, Saka is massively affecting the way that we flow and play our game, no doubt about it. But to date so far, Trossard for me has filled in that gap and done very well. To answer your question on the foul, Ferg, for me, I can't see how there's a foul there, if I'm honest. I saw an arm come on top of him from Kivior, which for me is petty if that's given as a foul. In the modern game where they let things flow and then come back to check it on VAR, I can't believe he stopped it that early. Decision made, he's blown the whistle. We can't say go to VAR and check the goal because he's already blown the whistle. That's the rules. But I just can't believe, yet again, the referee's blown the whistle too early for me.
Alex?
Yeah, I think on the Kivior one, I think I understand if he'd have blown it when Havertz went up for a duel with Konate, because he does sort of catch him in the face. So fair enough if he blew for that one, but he didn't. And yeah, like Dan said, just in the modern game as we know it now, just let it play through and then go back and check it with VAR. Yeah, just back to the conversation about our mentality. I just think it's really, really important, like the context of, you mentioned Liverpool were missing Alisson, and they were, and he is important. But like when we've got these like cluster injuries, when we're missing Calafiori, and in the game in the second half, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, and then Ben White, he was playing in the centre back. I just think they're really important to our mentality and the way we play and the way we press up high, because Saliba is so good with sort of leaving space in behind. We just can't really do that with Skelly, Kivior, Ben White, and Partey. I'd be really worried if we pressed really high against Liverpool and sort of left them behind to sort of defend Salah. And that's kind of what happened when we did press forward.
I think there was enough out there for us to win that game. Personally, my opinion, I thought we had enough talent and are good enough to be beating Liverpool, even with the players missing, even though they are misses.
I agree, but I don't think he was wrong in sort of, going back a bit and not pressing up. I think the best way was probably to just sit back a bit with what we had on the pitch.
I'll tell you what, Alex, I don't think Arteta would have wanted them to play that way. And I think Arteta will be in that dressing room saying, this isn't how we need to play. We need to be more front foot. I don't believe for 1 minute that's an instruction from Arteta. I think that's the team not feeling comfortable with the players missing and they drop back on their own. And I think that I got that a little bit from Arteta's press conference, in my opinion. So the comment.
I think there's elements. I think there's elements to it. I think there's elements to it, definitely. But I'd be surprised if he wanted the defense we had on the pitch towards the end to play as high as if it was Saliba and Gabriel, Timber and Calafiori. I just think it makes a difference.
Guys, listen.
I don't think we did play deep. I don't think we did play deep. I just think Liverpool played well. But what we've got to talk about the Kivior thing. Kivior's jump, I watched it on the telly, as you know. Kivior just timed that jump superbly. The height that Kivior got was astonishing. And I think because he's got that height, the referee has automatically assumed he's pushed off, and he hadn't pushed off at all. And he did blow too soon. But it was an opportunity for the referee to stop an Arsenal attack, right? At the soonest possible opportunity, right at the end of the game. And he thought, I've got to get in here. Foul. I'm giving a foul. But Matthew de Souza is exactly right here. And I was going to say this. The goal, if he hadn't have blown for Kivior, it would have been VAR and they'd have knocked it off.
It was up here in his arm. It wasn't a handball. So yeah,
it was down. It was down.
It wasn't. It was up here. I watched it, mate.
Well, you watched it with
this morning.
Inside, yeah?
This morning.
Back and back. It would have
been. By the way, Trev, he didn't put the ball in the net, did he? Who put the ball in the net?
No, Jesus
did.
Yeah. So I think the rule would not instantly rule that out unless Kai put it in the net.
Goal scoring opportunity, and
maybe
it's Arsenal. Don't forget they'd have found it. It's an handball.
Yeah, quite possibly. Saka's been directly involved in 10 goals in 8 appearances in the Premier League. 3 goals, 7 assists. The last person to in the fewest games to reach 10 in a single campaign. The last person to do that was Cesc Fabregas, who got there in 6 games in 2009-2010. But Saka as well. We'll take that banner off a second. Saka as well was the 50 Premier League goals, the youngest Arsenal player to reach 50 Premier League goals. We have got a quality player there in Saka, but we've also got other players in the squad. And thinking ahead to the League Cup game on Wednesday in Newcastle, Zinchenko. Lyle puts this question up here. What's the point in having Zinchenko in the squad? He's meant to be a senior pro. He's chilling on the bench, where Skelly, as we said earlier, is having to come on. Do you think, Trevor, that the likes of Zinchenko et al. Will get their chance on Wednesday at Preston?
Well, I would imagine so. I think there must have been a massive fallout between Zinchenko and Arteta somewhere, because Zinchenko just hasn't had a sniff I don't know why he's naming him on the bench, because he's obviously not going to play him. He's got Lewis Skelly there and Kivior, who he's played at left back before Zinchenko in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know why he's putting Zinchenko on the bench. I think there must have been a fallout. I would be very surprised if we don't see at least 5, 6, 7 fringe players, Zinchenko being one of those on Wednesday. For me, I think the only player that should play, guaranteed to play from the first team, is Raya. I think that Raya should play, because I think we might be busy against Preston. I don't know if Setford's ready for that. So I'd like to see Raya play. And then it's guess who, isn't it? We don't know the fitness of Gabriel. We don't know the fitness of Timber. We don't know where the other lads are. We don't know. We've got to put, Newcastle game's got to take priority, surely. So we're going to see a team full of youngsters and inexperienced players. I would hope on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it.
Dan, your thoughts on Wednesday night, and then Alex. I'm just going to do what I do.
Oh, Fergus time of the night, magic bag from Fergus. I'll tell you what. Firstly, the comment from Lyle, I think, spot on. Something must have happened that Zinchenko's not playing, because why in this game would you bring on an inexperienced midfielder that really is playing out of position at fullback up against Mo Salah and not bring on Zinchenko? I said this in the podcast before the game, that for me, I thought Zinchenko would play, because you have to play your experienced players in these games. And if he's not going to be able to step up and play in this game, then what role does he actually have in this squad at the minute? So it's a worry.
Exactly. Why is he on the bench, Dan? But
yeah,
listen, just before Ferg gets back, just got to put this on from Jason. I'd forgotten about it. Right at the end, the very last, one of the last plays of the game, he gave a goal kick.
Yeah.
That was a massive corner. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was a massive corner. And when he didn't give that, you're just thinking, these are our most professional linesman and referee. It was a massive corner kick. It was a huge deflection. Anyway, going back to Zinchenko, Dan, I think you're right. Alex, what do you reckon, mate? Something's gone off, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen Zinchenko being a massive liability defensively, and so has Arteta probably. So, I mean, that just shows where he ranks him in regards to defensively. I mean, clearly see Skelly as a more reliable defender than Zinchenko, but I do think we will see him play probably on against Preston, and hopefully Skelly as well in midfield, probably with Wanyeri, and hopefully we will see some of the things we saw against Bolton in the last cup game, because he was brilliant, scored 2 goals, and he's such an exciting young player, and he deserves to play, and he'll play. I'm sure he'll play against Preston one year, and I'm just really excited to see some of our fringe players and young players, and hopefully we can get going and make it click offensively. Jesus would be nice to see him get a goal or 2 and get into rhythm. Sterling as well. Some of the players who don't play full 90 minutes, would be nice to see them play and get some confidence, and it's a good opportunity for those fringe and young players.
Definitely Sterling and Jesus, because they're obviously not filling Arteta full of confidence at the moment. So get Sterling and Jesus in there. Skelly, you want to see. Nwaneri just excites me. I'm desperate to see Nwaneri get a solid hour in a game. If you don't play him 90 minutes, solid hour. I want to see Nwaneri play at that level for longer than 5 or 10 minutes, And then who else does he play, What's the defence on Wednesday? Does he risk Saliba? Because
I think he plays Saliba, but he probably rests Gabriel. And you play Ben White alongside Saliba this time.
Yeah.
Is
Gabriel fit though? You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right, Ferg. Yeah, you're right. By the way, I've got to say again, right? Ben White coming. I said it at the start of the show, Ferg. Ben White coming into the centre of that defence and replacing either of Gabriel or Saliba is a massive, massive challenge. If you go back, you can go back 5 years on this podcast, right? And I always say a team will never be brilliant unless they've got a solid centre-half partnership. I've always said it. We've been begging for one for years. And for Ben White to step in there when one of our solid partnership is injured is massive.
Huge.
The pressure on the lad. And he was superb. Absolutely superb.
Guys, along with Wednesday night's game, then we've got the early kickoff to Newcastle on Saturday morning at 12, Saturday lunchtime at 12:30. Then you guys are off to Milan. Trevor, you got the list of the next 9 games. I think we play 2 at home.
I've got to hope that the missus ain't listening, folks. I'm going to all of these, right? Out of the next 9 games, we've got 7 away. We've got Preston on Wednesday. Then we're going up to Newcastle for an early kickoff. I've got to get up at 4:30. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Then I've got to get a 6 o'clock flight on Tuesday morning out of Stansted for Inter. Then we come back and we're straight over to Chelsea, who are absolutely flying at the moment, aren't they? Then we've got a nice little Forest at home, Saturday 3 o'clock. We'll take that all day long. Then we're back off to Lisbon again. You know, I'm going out on a Sunday because the beautiful wife's coming. Then we get back to West Ham away. Then we've got Man United at home, nice, easy game. Then we've got Fulham away. Whoever's doing these fixtures this year, my word, Ferg, they're giving us some away days, aren't they, eh?
It's hard, but the major question is, Dan took a decision last week, said, oh, no, midweek games, I'm not going to be drinking and stuff because the weekends. You go to Preston, mate, you're in the car with us. You're drinking. Not in the car, clearly, but...
No, Wednesday. Well, I feel right now is not a good time to ask me.
No, that's
bring him some baby Guinness.
Yeah, no, that just made me heave.
What a waste of money they are, eh? Baby
and a bottle of Jaeger.
At the same price as a pint of Guinness. I'll have a pint of Guinness all day long, please. And just drink it quick like a baby Guinness, eh, Dan? Just like when we were...
Yeah, you do, Trev, because you're an animal and I don't like drinking with you anymore.
Guys, I'm going to do that. I'm going to press that button in a second just to thank everybody who's been chatting, particularly Ruth at the beginning. That was really, really good to have Ruth on. Go to ruthbeckart.com, support Ruth and what she does. She's one of us, and she deserves our support. Dan, well done for staying awake because I thought you were going to fall off the chair at one point. Alex, well done with your patience with Trevor because I know he was winding you up something rotten tonight.
Oh.
Trevor, well done. You achieved everything you came out to achieve, which is wind every person up.
I can't help it if I just speak my mind, but Ferg, just before you press that button, how wonderful is this? It's starting to spread now and gain a little bit of momentum. This Stop Exploiting a Loyalty campaign. We've got to, if we can get the fans together, that's our only chance of winning. If we stop laughing at each other because we support different clubs and get together and get this Stop Exploiting Loyalty thing going, they've got to listen. They've got to listen. I'm excited about it.
They listened with the Super League, didn't they? I know they're trying to through the back door, but fundamentally they listened, and we won't come down. We'll see, boys. I'm pressing the button because we've gone 1 hour and 17. We always try and do an hour, and we always end up.
Look how long we've been doing it.
I know. That's
how does that happen? That's because Dan.
No, it's because what Trevor does is I move the conversation on. He goes, we can't go ahead without talking about what we talked about 25 minutes ago.
It's important that we talk about the Arsenal, Ferg. It's very important. Right, press the bloody button, man.
You have been watching an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy Wednesday, everybody. Up the Arsenal. Fuck the Spurs.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.